All right, did you turn over the logs and notifications that you received to the FBI? The email of the brute force attacks?
I did not turn those over to the FBI.
Did that surprise you, Mr. Chairman?
No, most everything about this surprises me. The very basic things you're supposed to do. The FBI comes up and tells us that they didn't have any evidence that anything had actually gotten through. And I think Blake Farenthold did a good job of highlighting that they didn't turn over that information to the FBI. And if somebody was successful, how would a guy with no IT experience even know that it had happened?
So at the end of the day, do you think the FBI took a dive on this investigation?
I haven't reached that final conclusion yet, but there are a lot of questions out there. Until the FBI gives us their full record, which we have now subpoenaed, then we really don't know who they talked to, who they didn't talk to. We have a duty as a separate branch of government to do our own investigation, so we're in the midst of doing that.
Based on what you know to date, which way is your suspicion? Do you think they took a dive?
Well, I'm very concerned about their conclusion, because there is what appears to me to be collusion to change the record. That came out of an email that we released yesterday between PRN personnel. I mean, they even called it shady. That was their words, not mine.
Collusion between whom, Mr. Chairman?
Between what Platte River Networks is doing and what the direction was from the Clinton camp.
Okay, so that not the FBI. You're saying the Clintons and the Clinton legal team and Platte River Networks colluded, in your opinion?
Yes. Yeah. Well, I mean, they used the word shady, and they wanted some documentation. In fact, they wanted to retroactively insert a bogus email to protect themselves from what they called this shady deal. So, I mean, there is a lot to look at in terms of intent. There's no question that the FBI director has clearly articulated that what was said and done was an absolute lie and deception. He just said he couldn't prove intent. We proved another thing yesterday, too, at least from the testimony of Mr. Cooper, that Uma Abedin absolutely knew about this server. The FBI report says that Uma Abedin knew nothing about the server. That's what she told the FBI. But Cooper's saying, yeah, she helped set it up. She had an email on the system. She was aware of it from the very beginning. This was a concerted effort from day one for her quote-unquote convenience to get around the system, protect her own network. Instead, she created this huge, massive vulnerability. I agree with Director Comey when he said she's not sophisticated. Well, neither was her team.
Will you be asking Director Comey to come before the committee to continue the conversation soon?
Well, the Director Comey, I believe, is scheduled here in the next week or two to come before Judiciary. Myself, Trey Gowdy, Blake Farenthold, a number of us that are on oversight are also on Judiciary. So, yes, he will be coming to Capitol Hill in what will be days. So we look forward to peppering more.
Will you ask him two questions for me, which is one, does he understand there is an appearance of the FBI taking a dive? That's my first question. The second one, would active duty military who treated their information this way be brought up on charges or at a minimum dishonorably discharged? Do you have opinions on those two questions?
I do. I think there's a reason why in the last couple of days the director has had to send a mass email to all employees trying to calm them down about how they've handled this. Everybody who deals with classified information knows you cannot provide access to classified information to somebody who doesn't have a security clearance. And what we learned yesterday is a number that is far, far bigger and greater than the FBI director admitted. They said that we found an email, everybody at Platte River Networks had access to her server. You had people without security clearances set up her server and have continued access for 4 years. There's got to be a consequence to that. There just has to be a consequence to that. And would that be allowed at any other situation, military, FBI? Absolutely not. The FBI has worked with the Department of Justice to have people charged for far less than that. That's why it looks like there's two sets of justice, but Lady Justice, pulls her blindfold up and peeks and sees if it's the Clintons. It's just different.